if I can play this game because I downloaded it before, and then I got stuck because of all the different twists and turns that everything takes. And I think that's a part of the gameplay. So, we're gonna keep on keeping on. And I might come up with a topic at some point. So, it's just so many things. I know eventually I can make arrows, but haven't actually done anything. I'm used to other games. Could have brought that word plank back, but I'll just bring it back afterwards. Oh, the bat. Cool.
Get him.
Let's see here. Pants, hat. Figured out the game sometime. Blocking, it's really bad. Let's see, machete. Bag. Go start. Reminiscent of MK. Nice. Let's see, what do I want to talk about? I'm gonna talk about something. Let's see here. Just gonna do it. Attack of at 50. You have to memorize this by hand, or actually I just have to look at the map, but it's fine. Let's see, I'm full, but I'm gonna had some noodles and roast and pastrami. It's really delicious. It's really great. With some barbecue sauce and It's really it's tantalizing. It tantalizing my taste buds because I put other things on it. Put a little bit of butter with the noodles, and what can I say? I'm a pretty big guy sometimes. So let's go to the next area. Think about how big I am sometimes and how much I need to change my diet for the better. And I guess it has to do with my mental state sometimes. When you reach for like foods that are comfort foods sometimes, it's really kind of, I think, only the psychological thing that goes for it. I'm aware of my own habits, so I mean, and I know that I need to change them, but my room's still a mess, so. But I know that I need to change them. I think if I had support, I guess I'd do that. But also too, I don't want to constantly think that make a person think that's the reason why I'm changing. I guess it's because I want to change. That's not because I want a reason to change.
Yeah.
Hammer. Oh, I can't equip any more items. That's weird. I don't know. I'm just gonna equip stuff, I guess. Okay, get out. Let's go to equip this. Equip this. Right. Bullshit. Oh, it's a blueprint. God damn it. Let's see here. Fiber for R&D. Okay. But a lot of ways I'm still starting my life sometimes. I'm a pretty late bloomer, and it took me a lot of time to form my ideas, so. But I know that when I have them, I'm going to stick on to them, I'll hold on to them for a while. And that's why I don't write a lot of stuff down, is because I might be too close to my face. I just, think about a lot of stuff when I'm doing, I was fired. Great. Don't want to be near it anymore. There we go. And I just ate the wrong shrimp. Yoga healing. It's beautiful. A lot of times when you eat a certain kind of food, I guess, Get him. Get him. Oh, that's right. I can't get those. I can go to other people's stuff and steal their stuff. Alright, I'll do that next time. Death bag, and then equip it to my, let's see. And, let's see here. Pick up machete, put it at, alright. So there are a lot of times that I question my habits, and I know that eating the wrong kind of food can kind of put me in a stupor sometimes. Or in a, yeah. so much friggin' damage to my friggin' stamina, but oh wow, that's awesome. There are a lot of reasons why I see my habits sometimes in retrospect and realize that I made the wrong decision. And I also realized that I filled myself with too much sugar sometimes and ate too big of pieces when I was doing something, you know? So, last time I tried to decide whether or not I would keep something a certain way in my life, and I realized that there were a lot of things stopping me from being able to create something that I wanted, and I like the executions though. Those are really cool. There are a lot of reasons why I feel the way that I do sometimes about things. The reason why I think that people should really check their lives out before they make stupid mistakes or say something that they don't mean. And there are a lot of times where I felt like I wasn't saying the right stuff in my life, and then that's when I realized I had this disability. I'm not saying that I'll always have this disability, but I realized that that's the reasons why I know I'll have it for a little while. There were a lot of people that believed in me along the way, and that's probably the reason why I wound up the way I did. And only because of my age too, as well, because I realized that there were a lot of reasons why I think somebody's hearing on the speaker. Not somebody, but I'm hearing on the speaker, so. That truck doesn't have wheels. Unless they have a grill in the back. I don't think they can do that. Unless they have like a grill or something like that. So but yeah, I don't think there's any technical unless they have a grill that's set in the back. And even then, they can use it. So, yeah, there are a lot of reasons why I believe that there are people out there that care, that take care of people, and while they need it. And I noticed that there were a lot of times when I just needed someone to know that I was going through something. I didn't need people to know exactly what I was going through.
Your amazing this time too. So, really? Thank you so much. Strong decision making is key to survival in these parts.
I didn't need people to know exactly what was happening in my life. But I needed people to know exactly the things I was going through and the reasons why I felt the way I felt. So, thank you to a lot of people, I guess. A lot of people that were there for me and actually cared, I guess. And thanks to those people, I actually have a normal life, and I'm trying my best to make it extraordinary. And very much so, because I realize that there are a lot of things that people need and people take for granted a lot. But also, that's the kind of thing that my dad would always have, because he wouldn't plan for things sometimes. He planned for a lot of other stuff, but there's not, like, general life in general. And we didn't have a lot of the stuff that a lot of people had sometimes. I didn't have video game systems until I was about 10, 15 years old. I was about 7 or 8. Besides the fact that we had a TV. I say things that don't matter. People tend to seek some sort of like grievance, I guess. Sometimes when they're thinking on their own, I think that no, you didn't feel those things. You didn't know what was going on. But that's the point entirely too, is whenever you feel as though something's going on, the reason why older people don't say a lot, the reason why a whole bunch of people are like, oh, I'll always be able to rap, and I'll always be able to do things that form lyricism and a whole bunch of different stuff. I'll always be able to like say a whole bunch of cool stuff that I think to my kids. And you have to notice that sometimes your kids really don't want to hear that. They're just like you for you, whenever you were a person who thought they wanted to be. Like the moment, that's basically how much kind of a tadpole, I guess, of a sperm or iota lives, I guess, and it doesn't jump through bodies or anything like that, or it doesn't have any sort of metaphysical form. It's just swimming around. Like, I like this. It's really cool. Temperature stays the same. It's pretty awesome. I think I'll be able to divide here, and then start dividing. After you are inside of an same idea that every single iota I don't call it that because it just sounds weird. Ejaculate, I guess. But those are hundreds, maybe if not thousands, sometimes of organisms. Sometimes. So there are a lot of people that believe that there's a reason for a lot of stuff. Sometimes there's a reason for people believing in certain things, because things are going to happen a certain way, or things are destined or preordained. I think what people thought of whenever they were thinking about whether there's futures or anything was gonna last or anything like that. My death dog. I just ate the boom shroom. I've noticed that there's a lot of times where and not as far as me watching something or doing something at all, But what I think people don't understand is this kind of state can happen naturally, I guess, and it has nothing to do with what form something's taking. It has everything to do with, I think, and I know that universes themselves are alive. They think, they move things, and they have a consciousness, I guess. It's a formation of light, balled around matter, or balled in matter, or moved around. It's the basic constructs of what life is. So I kind of realize different things, and I kind of think about different stuff, and what I think about kind of forms into these ideas or opinions of what I think about for the remainder of my
Welcome back. So what? Really? Thank you so much. Strong decision making is key to survival.
There are a lot of different reasons why I believe, for the most part, that I believe for the most part, that there are people out there that care and want everyone to do well. But I know that people use their people at times. And that's people use their ability sometimes to see right from wrong, or to even notice what they actually think is right, with someone else doing something. But more than that, I've noticed that there are people out there that care about things sometimes. It's just sometimes they don't know what next. But I think people need to start investing their money. For anyone's safety. Or anyone's security, I guess. People need to start investing their money in people's careers. Because it pumps money into economies. And I think that there are a lot of different really, really great things that people know about in this society. And there are a lot of different things that people create and are able to make as theirs. Because of the generosity of one person believing in another person. Okay. I've noticed that there are a lot of times where when I start to build on my own habits, or know my own realizations, or know realizations of thought. There are things that you know whenever you go into a situation, and there are things that you are a part of, or that you play on, because you want to make a situation turn into something that you like. So, I want to say that there's a lot of difference between what people think about situations and what people actually know about situations. Certain situations that don't go your way, it has to do with getting to a moment in your life and realizing that you didn't have a plan the entire way through. Realizing that that moment itself was something that you cared about, that you were as a person, but you realized wasn't for you. It's the reason why some people go into careers that they they think is going to be better for them. They think is going to make them a lot of money because they've seen other people do it before, but they never really got to know the habits or appreciated the things that actually made people want to get into the career in the first place. And as you start to build on what your career can be, as I start to be able to try to be the person that I want to be, and to be able to create the world of ideas that I want to create. There are a lot of times where I doubt myself, and I shouldn't sometimes, because no matter what people say or people do, or what people try to think about, there are a lot of times where I believe people that were that if brought about to real life, or if ever made as a person, or ever even conceived of or taught in any way that something was good or not good, that person wouldn't be someone that wanted to hang out with me. And no matter what I think there is about a certain thing happening, or about a certain situation that's gone awry, and certain people who I feel like I don't trust in, or feel like I do trust in any way. There are certain people that I entrust my friendship with, but not my heart. And I just want to say a lot of times to those people that there are a lot of times where people, I'm just going over the map as I'm saying things, sorry. I went every single place, that was awesome. Anyways, there are a lot of times I started to believe in the things that I didn't understand, or and that was, I guess, the reason why I started putting on Instagram stories of me believing in conspiracy theories, because it's not the idea of something existing that I think is true or has any validity, I guess. But I think that the validity of the fact or the statement or even the idea that someone was thinking of something, as they were thinking of something, they could have gotten to a specific fact. And I think that's where I think my schizophrenia lies, or schizoaffective disorder lies. I create situations that to think that I haven't come yet. And part of me wants to be able to believe in something that's not true, or something that I can laugh about with someone that I find, like, friendly or something like that. I think I wished my life went in a different direction, I guess, at some point, and I started to have a breakdown, I guess, of what I actually felt, of what I actually was as a person. And that breakdown was a series of reflexes and things that made me really really agitated and nervous all the time, because there was a certain part of me that that I believed would stay there, and it for the most part did not. So there were a lot of times where I believed that figure out how to stop yourself from going on the escalator. I just have to move back every single time I do it. There we go. Awesome. I have to keep moving back again. But as I went through every experience and realized my own equation, and what I was a part of and what I shouldn't be a part of because of it, I started to realize exactly what kept me in those situations. A ray of hope, or a situation that I thought would arise and make me feel like everything was worth it. And that's the reason why I stayed sometimes in situations where I thought that something would fall through, but I believed that someone would make it out of that situation and realize the facts of the matter, that things are sometimes the way they are, and no matter what you do, you can't say or do anything about them to change them, because either the person is set in their ways, or the thing that you're trying to change is just not time for it to change. People understand economics, and that much I know about a certain situation is there are people out there that believe in certain situations because they want to believe in the natural progression. I don't try to say to myself that I'm a certain person to be able to be I'm not a person with mad amounts of depression or anything like that. I think for the most part, being a certain emotion just changes my voice inflection by, I think, an iota of an octave, I guess. So it's not like I feel like there's something missing in my life. But I think that's what the medicine itself is doing for me right now. It's helping me realize that there are certain reasons and things that I try to create, I guess. And as I try to create them, I realize that there are also certain things that I know to be a falsehood, I guess. Tell me what it is. Is that a health thing? It might be a health thing. Turn in the shirt. No, it's terrible. a lot of times I realized that there were certain parts of myself that I didn't give any credit to. And I realized that the certain person that I thought I was, or the kind of person I thought I was, wasn't that, and would never be that. But as I started to realize something, as I started to realize stuff, I also realized that there were a lot of things that I really didn't understand as a kid. And when I started to grow up, there were a lot of people out there that really could help me, I guess, if they ever had the iota of faith in me that I see in myself. And trust me, it's a very big fraction of certain sorts. And I think that there's a lot of times where I believed in something that wasn't real, and that's what kept me going. I believed in a fallacy or an imaginative goal, and I wanted that goal to come true, and have that goal become true, or have at least the satisfaction of having the idea of that goal become true. And that goal was to be able to create a business for myself, to be able to make my own job, and I was trying to be able to get to know people, to be able to do some really good things and make sure some people got to know me. That was my goal, and I didn't get to it. But they got to see all the bad parts, though, because you can't see my face right now. But there are a lot of times where I find out that there's a situation where I feel as though I'm out of touch with people, or I'm out of reach of people, and sometimes I don't feel like I can. I don't feel like I can, this pants. Like looking at the butt. That's stupid. But I realized that, not that stupid. But I realized that there are bigger reasons why, that's, a passing thought. It's funny. There were a lot of times where I saw a lot of people who actually did care about me, and a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, or most of my friends, they really do care a whole bunch about me. No matter what I thought I was going to do, or I thought I was doing, they really brought the best qualities out about me. God damn it, I just died. But
Welcome back. So what do you think about your decision today will surely lead to a bright future for you.
But as I see
now then, let's bring you back to life, shall we?
As I deduce my reasoning behind the things that behind whatever I'm trying to create, or whatever I'm trying to make as a certain thing for myself. Whatever I tried to be able to make, as I'm trying to create it, I start to see something in motion. I start to see myself realizing something that I was already able to complete. I was already able to make sure of, and it was something that I got that was really, really awesome. And it helped me a lot to be able to, and as through therapy, it was actually this thing. I don't have it now, and I realized that it was only a stepping stone in my life, and the more that I share, that if I share that with someone, it should be verbally and not some paper, I guess. And it wasn't my high school diploma, but just sort of have that. It's at my mom's house, so I'm not really good for it, so... really not good with paperwork. It's really bad. It was this a thing from therapy. It was a piece of paper from therapy that I got, and I was able to figure out a lot of things that people wanted me to accomplish. And even though that they sucked up an end, it was good. I mean, it's not a lot of funding for therapy anymore sometimes, because there's a lot of people that are losing money, and it sucks. And I guess sometimes that takes a back seat, but it shouldn't. And I realized that it shouldn't a lot of times, because I noticed that there's a difference in the way that people actually think sometimes, or actually even feel, or actually even want to feel, because they get disappointed not because of the way that people do things, but sometimes that they noticed when people were having a bad day, or they noticed when people were having a messed up time. And when you're depressed, I guess, it's not like they're depressed, but they at least hang their heads sometimes. They know that oh man. There's not a lot of times where people had a lot of things to call their own, I guess. But they tried to make the best of it, and a lot of it's supposed to be some sort of guns, and also that's also a technique used by marketing sometimes to actually thwart back the use of guns sometimes, because nobody ever buys those magazines. There's like 2 people that buy those magazines, and I probably know one of them personally. No, this is just a joke, but it's a personal, it's an inside joke, and if you don't get it, then it's still funny. But as you start to realize certain things, as I start to realize my own certain creativity, I start to realize that there's a certain reason why people want something for themselves, or they want to be able to create something, or engulf themselves in some sort of viewpoint at all. I know I have to be the boss here. I'm trying to think if I beat some of the characters, then they'll go away and the friggin' thing will... I didn't need to eat it now, but that was dumb. But it's fun. At least for me, I guess, that I found a way to be able to create a bigger part of myself, and be able to make a better reason for what I wanted, and also all this kind of stuff I'm actually into somewhat. Not somewhat, a lot, most of the time. I'm into gore and horror sometimes. It depends on the tone sometimes of the movie, I guess. It depends on the tone of the movie and the setting and the pacing as well. Because if it's insinuated on real life, I guess, then there's not a lot of music, there's not a lot of things, but if they play it correctly, I guess, then I think that there's a lot more like reason to be able to appreciate film like that, because it touched on an actual subject, or it said something that was true, I guess, about someone. Sometimes that the realization that we all have superstitious, psychotic, and sometimes even mental breaks, and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do it. Like, there are people out there that get angry sometimes, and they shield their anger from others because they want to save it for therapy, but they don't know that people they need therapy not because they're saving anything. They need therapy because they saved someone's life, and they're scarred from it. They stopped someone from dying, and they realized that every single situation led up to there, and they didn't do anything about it. They need therapy because sometimes people go through so many traumatic situations that they don't understand that it's not their life that they're getting back. It's their mentality. The mentality that they had before the thing that happened to them, or the thing that happened around them. And I kind of go for the reasons to change the subject. It's a different technique in psychology. It gets the person not focused on their anger, and it makes them realize their folly or their fail, and or where they left off, I guess, at a certain situation, and tells them that there's a realization of fact where people don't understand that there's a big difference between what people actually think about. Like, there's a big difference of what I joke about and what I don't joke about. It's like, that's what I know for a fact about a lot of bigotry and racism. I guess it's a lot of people who sometimes need a lot of therapy. It's sometimes people who haven't seen the light, I guess, in a certain situation, and don't know that their lives were good, and there are a lot of certain situations where I find that there are God dang it, man. This place is so confusing. We're gonna so we start to realize that there's a God damn it, why is tomato so hard to... I gotta go over there. Okay, I'm not doing that. I just walked back and forth while trying to talk about something. I noticed that through my life, I understood that there were a lot of times where I didn't understand things, or I didn't understand the situation. But I did my research a lot of times, and I really did study a lot of things. And there are a lot of times where people think that something makes sense and know that happens. And there are a lot of times where I believed in myself and actually came through to people, and a lot of people believe in me because of it. So I know for a fact that a lot of people wouldn't, like, completely... How's it going, viewer? I'm sorry I wasn't paying attention to you, but if you want to write something or message me at all, just let me know, and put it down in the comments. But yeah, there are a lot of reasons why I react the way I do sometimes, and there are a lot of reasons why I don't believe in people until I not see them, but understand their character. And to understand someone's, I think, complete character is not to take just one situation out of hand. There are a lot of times when I thought that I'd not get into a fight, but that I wouldn't respect the person after a certain situation. But then I realized after that certain situation, I thought of myself as what's the person sometimes. And after I thought of myself as what's the person, I realized that all they were trying to do was take care of something else or someone else, or do something incredibly important that they needed to take care of. But in order for me to be a part of that situation, I had to jump through a bunch of hoops. And I'm not a hoop jumper because I weigh 280 pounds, so 87 pounds or now but I think I lost a few pounds, I think. So, but and it's mostly what's the word? It's mostly muscle. Played a lot of football in high school, and it still gets a good amount of weight, but I don't really like to do that stuff because of the things that I've been taught and the people that I made promises to. I don't like to exactly, I don't know what it is about what I think about sometimes, but I never like fighting. I never like telling people that what's the word? That I'm better than them, or that I made better choices, because I mean I've made those choices before. I've made certain choices that I didn't want to make, I guess. And I only did it because I thought that I'd be able to realize a certain goal for myself. And then after I realized that it wasn't for me, I kind of just learned my lesson. I don't stay with people who try to tell me that I'm not enough. Or try to tell me that, oh, it's something that you'll never get, I guess. But that's the point about getting something. I go back to the reference, the song Okay Go, but needing and getting, as far as actually doing something about it, or actually doing something about someone, and realizing that your goal is not to completely alienate yourself or alienate them. Your goal is to come up with some sort of conversation piece and to realize a situation that makes you both realize that you've been thinking the same thing all along. Because a lot of times between two people, whether they've been going through the same thing or not, the same concepts are actually true. And a lot of times I've been the blunt of somebody's joke. I guess the realization of someone's punchline, I guess. But also too, the realization of a punchline is as far as you give it. It's just the stick coming out of their mouth. That's all. And no, I don't think you can get that much from but also realize that that even though it's just the spit coming out of their mouth, realize that you'll find more things available. You'll find more things in, what's the word? You'll find more things in tune with people, and realize that not only did you care about other people, not only did you care about a lot of things, but you'll care about But
welcome back. So what do you think about our insurance now?
But realize the point of the matter is that the more you don't focus on those people, the more you don't focus on that spit that's coming out of that person's mouth, the more you don't focus on the people who are around you that try to not care, because sometimes they just don't give a shit anymore, and they're just bound to care less and less as the situation goes around. Realize that those people cared once. That people change their minds every single day. That people change what they think and what they believe constantly. To be able to change with the times. To be able to be a person who wants to be something, who really wants to be validated, and they want to realize there's certain goals and they don't want to let go of something until they do. And even though they don't want to let go of it, they don't want to let go of that's something, they have to realize that whenever there's a certain person out there, whenever there's a certain thing that people actually do create or even make, and that other people believe in, that's the only part where people actually don't realize that it's not the idea of how much you put into it. It's the idea that sells to someone who wants to make something good, who wants to make something great, who wants to realize a situation that for the best of parts and for the worst of parts, it's still not that bad. Realize that through situation after situation, people make changes in their lives. People try so hard to be able to make changes in their lives. And when they make changes in their lives, they try to do some sort of spring cleaning, because it's like this crazy voice in their head that's trying to be like, hey, you need to get your stuff together. You need to do your stuff. You need to get something together, because I realize a lot of times that there are people out there that think that They think that I'm ready to do something, or that I'm ready to be someone, or that I'm ready to be this amazing thing out there. But a lot of things tell me that things are just going to be the same way and be the same person. Because a lot of things tell me that people are going to be the same way no matter what you do and how you do it. Because they went through situations before and they realized that someone thought and someone knew, or someone knew about something that would happen again. Realize that the situations you're in aren't that bad, but also realize the situations you're in can get better if you just give yourself the credit. Give yourself the credit of something that's worth someone, that's worth somewhere. And also the realization of fact is that people don't know how things will change, only for the speculative purpose of being able to notice when things aren't working. The people themselves aren't realizing a certain fact. And that certain fact is there were people out there that decided something. The decision was based on pure malevolence, or sometimes even stupidity, or even just something that they thought could be individualistic. Whether people want to change that idea about themselves, or whether people want to realize a certain thing that they understand or don't understand, whether they're going to be that certain person for someone out there. And I'm sorry I lost you, but just realize that you're better off being with someone in a relationship, or in a business thing, or in something that reveres you as a person, that tells you you're good, and it keeps you confident, because that's what keeps you good on anything, on any job site. That tells you that you're doing well, and then doesn't help you, doesn't make you think that you're better than you actually are. And even though you know you're better than you actually are, even though you know that they're better, even though that you know that they're better and they're not saying anything, the realization of fact is, sometimes people keep that stuff private. Sometimes people keep that stuff to themselves because they have ideas of their own and they want to make their own businesses eventually. Or they have ideas of their own and they want to create a new life for themselves in somewhere, in some place that no one knows them at. Or the realization of fact that everything they tried to make got taken or got ruined or got hurt, and they just want to forget for a while. They are allowed that freedom. I don't know about any other country because I've never been outside the continental United States. But I know for a fact that there are a lot of people out there that know good things, because otherwise we'd be bombed already. And if other people actually knew the shit that I said when I was private, but they don't when I was in private, sorry. Things are a lot different, and I realized that those ideas need to stay inside, and indoors, because they're just used to be able to make myself feel alone, so that I can concentrate and be able to make myself feel better about my own ideas. And yes, I like to burp. I'd like to fart. It's fun because I know that I'm working. I know that my body's working because gas is expelling from it. I wish people would fart more often. And burp more often. Because it comes out of both holes. Because no matter what you take in, no matter how you take it in, no matter which thing you take in at all, people have to understand that there's so much air you take in with everything, and that's the reason why gas X itself gets rid of the... I don't believe in it. I don't believe in gas X. I don't believe in it. It's just dumb. It gets me irked out. I think that overuse of it can probably cause indigestion for a very long time, and irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome. But other than that, I think that there's a lot of times where I believed that people would have my back, and realized that they not only wanted to be around me, but I was useful. And I'm useful in a lot of ways now. I've grown up. I'm 31 years old. I've just had my birthday. Yeah! I'm not going to tell people when my birthday is. But there are a lot of times where I thought of myself as keen on instinct, and realized that I just was kind of drawing a lot, and realized that there were a lot of things that I could make up for, even though I couldn't do a lot of stuff. And I also realized that there were a lot of things that I needed to reevaluate in my mind. And there were a lot of people that needed to understand that there were things that I just couldn't take. Things that I just couldn't stand for. And some things that I never did. But as I start to realize there are certain things about myself that I understand, and start to realize there are certain people that I really, really want to start respecting. How's it going, viewer? If you would like to message me, you can. There are a lot of times when I felt like there were people in my life that were toxic, or I felt like they weren't the person that I wanted them to be, because they weren't immediately looking at me when I looked at them. And I realized that there was an installation of some sorts that was a thought and a suggestion that was constantly begging for me to be able to put forth the effort and make sure that there were people out there that knew who I was. But as they started to know who I was and who I am, they started to lean back, because they were surprised. And I hope that when I get my camera up, people will be surprised too, and start to realize that I'm not the person they think I am, and I'm not the person that they think I will be, or ever am training to be. I'm not doing a lot of push-ups right now because I know that I need to allow my stuff and my body to rest. And I don't want to become too bulky too quick because I know that I'll lose it immediately too. So, there are a lot of reasons why I believed in myself whenever I believed in myself. And I still believe in myself today. And I'm still going to try to be able to make something better. And don't forget to be your own one-man personal metaphorical bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen. Sometimes just by walking off. Sometimes by telling people how you feel. And sometimes by telling people what you'll never do. And I know that to be a fact. Sometimes. So realize that there are certain situations and people that no matter what they do, they'll do anything to get by. And those people are sometimes cast in huge things that people are a part of, and it's like, not that guy. Realize that there are people out there that really, really want something to happen with that. And be better with yourself. And that's the reason why I got angry and started doing stuff. I started drawing and painting and doing a whole bunch of different stuff that I thought was cool. I started coming up with my own ideas and for comic books and a whole bunch of different stuff, and there were so many ideas that came, I think I got inspired by because of something that was on TV and some derivative of a thought that I thought might be cool, but I realized that it was just X-Force and a whole bunch of different other people. I had realized that I'd probably picked up a lot of Deadpool comics when I was younger, and also picked up Venom and a whole bunch of different stuff like that. But besides that, I think that there are a lot of people that believe in the fictional character. I think that there are a lot of different things that people don't understand about me, and I hope that there are a lot of times when people can start to joke about things that they thought were bad or unsavory sometimes. I hope those times will come soon. And I know that there are a lot of different things that people are working on that will help to make sure that stuff never happens. Or bad stuff never happens. And that stuff that I was talking about, see, that's the reason why I try to catch my train of thought before I go off into a stupid thought. That stuff is gonna happen. That stupid stuff that people insinuate is never gonna happen. And the stuff that people think about all the time, that people notice all the time, that people believe most of the time, are gonna realize that that stuff was sitting on their doorstep sometimes, and they didn't even pick it up. But unfortunately, they didn't get thrown at them, but their metaphorical doorstep, that's what I mean. Oh, man. It's so weird and hard to calm yourself down from something sometimes. Especially like a weird, like... It's like a thoughtful depression that I'm having right now. It's like somebody's handing me some tea. Somebody's saying, "Do you feel better? Here's the blanket." That's what I'm trying to do to myself right now. Shit. Alright, I'll talk to y'all later, and be yourself, and realize you are your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen just by creating a better day and realizing that there are people out there that matter. And before you realize or even think for 1 second that someone's going to come out and after you to be able to make sure that you'll never talk or you'll know too much or something like that. Realize that all of those certain situations never happen, because in order for that to happen, people have to corroborate stories about what you said to that one particular person. That one particular person has to speak to every single person in the entire room. That every single person in that entire room has to know exactly what that person's thinking at all times. Every single time. And it's very, I'm not going to say that it's impossible, but I'm going to say that it's very hard to do that, because it takes a lot of suggestion and a lot of coercion, and that's why it's not admissible in court. So, realize that there are a lot of things that people do, a lot of things that people know, a lot of things that people are knowing, because there are a lot of things that people know now. Better yet, there's a lot of things that people are taking care of at this very moment. And there are a lot of reasons why people don't understand that there are a lot of people that care, and there are a lot of people that really, really do give a shit about what people think, and what people say, and what people do. And if you do see something, say something. Realize that. Believe in yourself, and always believe that there is someone out there for you, because if it gets cold, then that's what I do, is I put on my smoking jacket. And right now I should probably have my evening smoking jacket, but it's not that cold, so I'm just going to put on my regular smoking jacket. So, believe in yourself, make a day, and believe in yourself that entire day. Just sit down and believe in yourself, because that's what you got to do to be able to focus your mind, to be able to make sure that those goals you're creating aren't just all willy-nilly around the place and you got to run around the store the entire time. I make lists in my head, and then they go all jumbled up because of other information. So that's what happens. I make lists in my head, and I'm just like, whoa, that got jumbled up. That's great. Awesome. Other parts of my brain are working to be able to create a certain list. So eventually the medication will stop all of that, and that's all I have to know, you know? So have a good day, and enjoy the day that comes after today, because it's tomorrow. And then tomorrow will be today. And then today will be yesterday. But also realize that yesterday, if it wasn't good, make a goal. Do something better. Make yourself better. And realize that there are people out there that care always, for that and for many other things. Even if you let it die, it doesn't mean you won't see it again.